Yeah, so I got a call from my mother this morning, and it's even good morning. She's like, you know what? I should have listened to you. I should have listened to you. I knew you'd be right. Yeah, it's see, I told you so. Moment 10,742. Who knows what number at this point in time? I was thinking about it this morning. It's this TV show, action TV show that I used to love when I was younger. It was the A Team, and there was this character named Hannibal. Was George Papard, I think, played him. And at the end of almost every show, the A Team, bunch of mercenaries from Vietnam, helping people out. He'd always say, "I love it when a plan comes together." Well, I make predictions and we try to warn people about a myriad of things, mostly having to do with markets, financial, myriad of things. But we also talk about politics, taxes, policy here on the program. And unfortunately, the calls that I make, they turn out true. There's problems, there's issues. I guess it's in the eye of the beholder when it comes to this election. But I want to go through what happened, what took place. Again, we expected this. We told you this was going to happen. We said, the idea that red wave. Yeah, I'm laughing. I'm seeing all this stuff on social media, and everybody's touching the money. That's the modern day say, touching the money. We got this in the bag. This is all ours. Touch the money. And my grandmother used to say same thing, old school. Don't count your chickens before they hatch. But we'll explain. We'll go over. We have. I warned. I said that Republicans are offering really nothing right now. They're just somebody else. That's it. They don't really have any sort of policy that they put forward. What, they got that new contract with America. What the hell is it called? I don't know. Agreement. Who knows? Because again, it's nothing. It's a brief outline. I equated it here on the program. If you recall, I equated here on the program back when I was learning how to write term papers, back when I was in high school. And they had a process that they wanted us to follow. And first you had to write your outline, and then you had to gather your facts. And they made us go through this process. Again, this is back in the day before computers, or actually we use computers for papers, obviously. We'd have to write our outline out, and then we'd have to get all of our facts and data and research, and we had to put it on index cards and compile all that. It was a process, to say the least. But anyway, the Republican plan for dealing with the issues of the day. Can you tell me what they are? Can you tell me what they've put forward? We'll go with the issues. Okay, we'll go with the issues when it comes to this, because I'm not sugarcoating this. I've seen various Republicans sugarcoat this, and I'll time stamp the program as it stands right now. No one knows whether or not the Republicans are going to win the House, or whether or not the Republicans are going to gain or lose anything in the Senate at this point in time. The fact remains, if you take a look at the internals, the poll internals, and to the way that Americans felt, it should have been a gimme. Should have been a gimme. But there's no such thing in life. You actually have to work for it. You have to deliver. Yeah, the Yankees should have won against the Red Sox, being up 3-0 in 2004, but they didn't. Anyway, the highest inflation in 4 decades. Dominant issue. The dominant issue out there. Highest inflation in 4 decades. Half the electorate saying it was the single most important voting factor. Half the country. Again, I'm going to ask everybody here. Okay. You might have candidates in your district that may have come up with the plan. Have Republicans really come up with anything when it comes to tackling inflation at all? I actually happen to agree with some of the Democrats, and these are some far left Democrats, going after the Federal Reserve and talking about how interest rates is not going to help this situation. They don't really push for what needs to be done, spending cuts. No. Because again, Republicans they're spineless. They have fear. They don't. Oh, we start talking about spending cuts, then Democrats might come back and say we're going to take away people's Social Security and Medicare, and they're just a bunch of chicken shits. They really are. I mean, for crying out loud, it's brutal. And they do it all the time. I mentioned this story before. I don't know if you recall. This is just a chicken shit reference. Mitt Romney getting caught at a campaign event down in South Florida saying, why are we going to reach out for, these people? They're not going to vote for us anyway because there's free stuff. And then he walked away from it rather than embrace it and say, you know what, this is not what we stand for. We want for people to stand on their own 2 feet, overcome obstacles and achieve goals. Go out there and teach. Put the work in. No, Republicans didn't put the work in. They didn't put the work in. They just, Biden is bad. Biden is bad. Democrats are bad. That was, for the most part, that was their campaign. Let's go over some of these internals. And I'm going to go through these internals. You're going to just see how poorly the Republicans did. 3/4 of the nation feels that it's going in the wrong direction. 6 in 10 disapproved of the way Mr. Biden is handling the economy, while a majority said his policies have made inflation worse. When combined with those who saw inflation as an important factor, but not the single most important one, 9 in 10 voters identified rising prices as a significant consideration in their decision. For those who said inflation was a factor in their vote, which ranked as top concern, roughly half selected groceries or food prices as most burdensome to them among everyday expenses. No kidding. Shocker there. The future of democracy thing, the whole thing that, dark forces, and one of the things that Democrats push out there on feeble-minded people. Well, it worked on 40% of the people. The future democracy was rated by more than 4 in 10 as the single most important factor. The Supreme Court's decision and violent crime were each listed by about 1/4 as the single most important issue. It's amazing to me. It really is. It really is amazing to me to just see how poorly Republicans done. You're taking a look at all of these internals in these polls. I'm thinking about it today. I'm thinking about the threat to democracy bit that they're pushing. And again, it kind of, you're always going to get that. You're always going to get some sort of fear that is pushed out there by sometimes on one side or another side. And I was thinking about Ronald Reagan, and the idea. Oh my God, he's got Alzheimer's. He's got Alzheimer's. He's not all there with it. I remember that Genesis music video back from the 1980s, Land of Confusion, where Ronald Reagan puppet gets nervous and he sets off nukes. Anyway, 3/4, this is another poll, 3/4 of voters in the survey, this is done by AP Votecast, said the economy was poor or not so good, including 1/3 who said it was in poor shape. offered a list of 9 issues facing the country. Almost half said the economy and jobs were the top issue facing the nation. No other issue, including abortion or crime, was cited by more than a tenth of voters as the nation's most important issue. More voters disapproved than approved of the job being done by President Biden, but an even larger share felt negatively about Congress. More than half the electorate thinks Biden, more than half of the electorate thinks Biden lacks the mental capacity to efficiently serve as president. Oh, let's go on to Donald Trump. Former President Donald Trump, who said he plans to make an announcement about his political future on November 15th, is viewed very unfavorably. 50%. Very unfavorably. Half the electorate. More than half in total when those who feel somewhat unfavorable about him are included. I can't think of a single candidate looking to run for the presidency with these types of numbers, views. Can you? Bernie Sanders is a socialist. I don't think you if you did a poll on him like this, you'd get 50% viewing very unfavorably. That's Bernie Sanders, a socialist, and you could have done it years ago. Try to think of polarizing, candidates with these types of numbers. Anyway, this is what mattered most to Americans. And guess what? Republicans failed miserably. We have a complete lack of leadership at the top. It's something that I've talked about for a long time. Kevin McCarthy should not be Speaker of the House. He should not. Lindsey Graham needs to go. Mitch McConnell, oh, I know. He's the wizard of the Senate, and he knows all the tricks and shenanigans. Okay, consult. But he needs to go. You need a new crop of characters to come in. You really do, because this is, an absolute disaster. That was a disaster that we called. We told you this was going to happen. We told you there wasn't going to be any red wave. They've got nothing. They've got nothing. Here you go. You're set up with these type. This is how Americans felt. This is what they told you. And you couldn't win with this? I got to talk a little bit about Donald Trump. Again, and like I said, I've been an equal opportunity basher. I've given Donald Trump credit on some of the policies that he has put forward. And I think probably his greatest legacy as president is the appointments to the Supreme Court. Without a doubt, I think he's done a great job. He did a great job with that. With that being said, okay, I'm sorry. Okay, you know it. And I know it. The guy is an a-hole. He is. He is a complete and utter a-hole. He had to make this, and we talked about this. He had to make the midterms about him. Oh, Florida's piping mad. Florida's piping mad with this guy. You dare go after Ron DeSantis? You dare go after Ron, called him Ron DeSanctimonious, because, he's got to get his little names, because he's got to act like a freaking kindergarten asshole. Okay, now, you know what? That's wrong. You can't call kindergartners, or they're kids. They don't know any better. You're a grown man. That's the best you can do, is call people names. Lion Ted. And all the other BS that you come up with. You got to take it to the lowest common denominator. I'm being honest with everybody here. I mentioned, I said, I hope he gets, I haven't seen, remember in Caddyshack? Remember Caddyshack? Rodney Dangerfield's hitting the golf ball, and I forget, did he hit Judge Smales in the Family Jewels? He yelled 4, should have yelled 2. I honestly, I hope he gets hit with a golf ball into Family Jewels and he's not able to run. He would just shut the hell up. He will lose. Period. The end. He will lose. Doesn't have a shot with these. Oh, you get all of a sudden people are going to start, they're going to like you now and your type of behavior. You know, the funniest thing is he was interviewed, and you take a look at his MAGA candidates there. Yeah. J.D. Vance in Ohio, and the amount of money that they had to spend in Ohio. This was bloody Rob Portman's seat, for crying out loud. And you compare what the governor got, okay, DeWine got, and you compare it to J.D. Vance. He's poisonous, man. And when is Republican going to realize, you know what? Just give this guy the Heisman. And you can't care what the hell he has to say. If he's going to put out a mean tweet or say something awful, just ignore it. Just ignore him. Pretend like he's not there. Let the media cover it. Hey, come out, you can say something. Hey, you know what? I don't argue with idiots. I don't make it a habit of arguing with idiots because they've got way too much experience at being an idiot, and I don't want to bring myself down to their level. Going after Ron DeSantis. Oh, he can't say. What was the other threat he put out there? I've got dirt on Ron DeSantis. That'll come out. That'll come out. Only his wife knows about it. Dude, you know, Donald Trump needs his ass kicked. That's what a jerk. What was the other comment he made? The other comment Trump made. He said, yes, if my candidates win, it's all because of me. If they lose, it's not because of me. But you think that's funny, clever, cute? No. That's the definition of an a-hole. Sorry. That's not the future. You saw what happened in the state of Florida. Rubio, House seats, DeSantis. Why? Florida is doing it the right way. It's attracting business to the state. It reopened when it came to COVID. It kept the schools open. It did all of the things that should have been done nationally. Should have been done nationally. Trump should have pushed for nationally. He didn't do it. Again, fine, I get it. You know, he's playing politics there. Well, if it doesn't work, it's not my fault. I'll just let the states handle it. But again, he could have led on this, could have changed up Fauci and Birx and done some different things, but he didn't. You are what your record says you are. And you take a look at the state of Florida and honestly, how can you, I don't understand how Chris got any votes, for crying out loud. Maybe some of his family members. How do you vote for the guy? You take a good look around at your state. I mean, the big issues that they have in the state of Florida right now is, to be honest, is they got to keep up with infrastructure. The amount of people that want to move there. That's their biggest issues. Anyway, it was funny. That's kind of a tie-in with this. Ken Griffin from Citadel moved from Chicago. He's one of the wealthiest guys in the world, in the country. Moved his firm Citadel from Chicago to Florida. Yeah, it's, you know, Florida, what great environment, and streets are safe and clean. Gee, you don't say. Anyway, what to take away from this? First and foremost, okay, you have to offer something, okay? You can't just mail it in. Republicans ran on nothing. Rick Scott tried to push an agenda through. Mitch McConnell pushed it aside, didn't want to be bothered, okay? The Republican Party, in my opinion, needs a complete reboot. Completely, top to bottom. A complete and utter reboot. You can get, again, you have the opportunity to bring in minorities. You saw some of the minority vote shift over to the Republican Party. People are getting sick and tired of crime, but it wasn't good enough because you didn't offer anything. What were you planning on doing if you got the House, if you got the Senate? What? Investigations? That's all they talked about. We're going to be able to investigate Biden and his ties to Ukraine and Hunter Biden. Nobody wants any more freaking investigations except the cable news networks. People are concerned about their bills. That's what they're concerned about. This is what the polls are telling you. We're going to be able to investigate this, and we're going to be able to bring Dr. Fauci up and all these people and Merrick Garland and investigate this. Shit, man. How the hell does that bring my milk bill down? My electric bill down? I'm not saying that those things are not important, but it's not the main dish, man. It's a side. It's a side of, Brussels sprouts or broccoli rabe, whatever the hell you like. It's a side. We got bigger fish to fry. And the Republican Party just didn't get it. Anyway, moving on. I got to get to some business briefs for the day. It's interesting. FedEx came out and said that they're parking a lot of their planes. Yeah. Parking a lot, reducing flights and parking planes, soft demand for package delivery. Maersk, the shipping company, basically saying that, hey, we got a global slowdown. We are not moving as much goods around the globe. Again, economy is weakening globally. It's a reality. Disney's earnings hurt by costs at Disney Plus. The streaming wars. Yes, that was a great South Park movie from this past year. South Park, the streaming wars, and they pulled in water and climate change and all sorts of stuff into that episode. But it's hard to make money with these things. It really is very, very difficult to make money with these streaming platforms. They're having a difficult time with content and putting out quality. It's across the board. It really is. And again, I'm still amazed. I really am. How out of touch a lot of these Hollywood executives are. I really am at what people want to watch, want to see, what they feel is a quality film or not. I mean, I've seen some stuff, on airplanes. I'm like, I don't feel like reading right now. I just, I read all the time. So, I'm going to watch a movie. And I'm like, I didn't see that one. I'll watch a movie. And I'm like, it's so freaking bad. It's hard to get your arm around it. How did you get this green lighted, for crying out loud? And, it's across the board. And there's also Disney's earnings are hurt with the, let's be honest, just stay woke, go broke. Got layoffs. Mark Zuckerberg going to be laying off 11,000 Facebook workers. And his response pretty much is, my bad, my fault. I screwed up. Yeah. Let's go through this month. Twitter, 50%. The staff being laid off. Cameo, 25%. Robinhood, 23%. Intel, 20%. Snapchat, 20%. Coinbase, 18%. Open Door, 18%. Stripe, 14%. Lyft, 13%. Shopify, 10%. Apple, hiring freeze. Amazon, hiring freeze. And also, I got some word yesterday, Citigroup's going to be laying off some of their investment bankers because there's not a lot of business that's being had. I hope that the Wizards of Smart, I got all these stories, FedEx, Maersk, Disney, layoffs, whatever it may be. We're seeing what's going on in real estate. Where's the 30-year fixed mortgage? What, almost 7.2 right now? I hope the Fed recognizes this. I'm not counting on it. It's the Federal Reserve. They couldn't figure out inflation. I hope they're seeing what's actually happening and understand that, do you really have to blow up the economy? Do you really have to nuke the entire thing? Is it really necessary to control inflation? Anyway, Sam Bankman Fried or Fry, I don't even know how it's pronounced. This guy, if you remember, was it 2 months ago, 3 months ago? I can't remember when, because the amount of bullshit that goes along with crypto stuff, it's constantly flowing. It's a river of bullshit. This guy was heralded as the next JP Morgan. He's the JP Morgan of crypto. He stepped in and met with some of those crypto exchanges that were going bankrupt and they were losing all of their money. Was it Celsius? Yes, Celsius, I think might have been the one. Anyway, he lost basically 95% of his fortune, 16, 17 billion. I think it was as high as 24 billion. His platform is falling apart. If you're taking a look at cryptocurrencies that he was involved with, they're falling apart. And again, I read all through all this stuff and I hear all of these names, and I'm going to be quite honest with you. I don't know. Chris, what are your thoughts on the Solana? Solana, it's collapsing and what its effect. I said, I don't care. I don't care. I'm going to give the Nathan Lane birdcage. How do I feel? Betrayed, bewildered? I don't know. Because I'm not dumb enough to go speculating on crap like this. Sorry, people. It's economic Darwinism. I know. I'm going to be getting the email going on. I don't know what to do, Mr. Markowski. And again, I don't literally pull a Don Corleone and smack you in the face and say you can act like a man. But again, I'm going to tell you that. You should have known better. Everything in life that has meaning, value, and worth involves work, time, and effort. Stop looking for shortcuts. You can't explain this stuff to me. You can't. They can try. They can use some sort of soundbite that's put out by these charlatans, these hacks that keep pushing people into this stuff. It is a Ponzi scheme. They had a video I saw where you had this Sam Bankman character basically admit that it's a Ponzi scheme. Whew. Sorry, didn't mean to yell. Quick bit here on EVs. John Stossel. I like John a lot. Libertarian fella. Put some interesting numbers again. This is in regards to, and it's a lot. These are things that we've talked about on the program, but I want to highlight his column here, talking about how electric car sales are up 66% this year, and we got this idea we've got to go all EV. You've got executive orders from governors like Gavin Newsom. You've got the European Union. Now we're going to ban gas cars. And we told you that it was all, again, magic. Not going to happen. Not going to happen that quickly. That's for darn sure. And Stossel agrees. And he points out, he calls them inconvenient facts about electric cars. Simple truths that politicians and green activists just don't seem to understand. Electric cars are amazing, says physicist Mark Mills of the Manhattan Institute, but they won't change the future in any significant way as far as oil or carbon dioxide emissions. If you sold more electric cars, it doesn't reduce oil use very much at all. Right now, they said there's anywhere between 15 to 18 million electric vehicles. If you get it to 500 million, that would reduce world oil consumption by about 10%. That's it. Doesn't end the use of oil. Again, you got to deal with the electricity component, and this is something that I've talked about for a long time. Again, people don't understand, where does your electricity come from? Where does it come from? No. You can't, we don't know where lightning strikes are going to come, unless, remember, Doc Brown, Back to the Future with the clock tower, and you got to string it so you can get the 1.21 gigawatts to power up the flux capacitor in the DeLorean so you can go back to the future. Anyway, I talked about this as well. Most of Americans' electricity is produced by burning natural gas and coal. 12% comes from wind or solar. The idea that we're going to be able to go totally over to wind and solar is it's patently absurd. It is. If I was handling this and we said, okay, this is where we want to go. We want to reduce our carbon footprint. We want to really make an effort to do this. We should have been all in nuclear. Okay, we want to push people to electric cars, but we also want to make sure that the energy that is going into the cars is also, without emissions. So how are you going to do that at this point in time based upon the technology that we have at hand? Nuclear. But we didn't do that. Ford's Linda Zhang, BBC interview. Electric vehicles in general are better and more sustainable for the environment. Stossel goes, she's a Ford engineer. She's not ignorant. But Mr. Mills says she's not stupid, but ignorance speaks to what you know. You have to mine somewhere on Earth 500,000 pounds of minerals and rock to make one battery. And oftentimes, again, these minerals and whatnot are coming from areas that still use child labor, slave labor. We've gone over this here on the program. It's funny, you get all the liberals that love all their electric cars. Remember, was it Leonardo DiCaprio film, Blood Diamond? Talking about how diamonds are mined and how they come to market. And quite frankly, I know this. I'm sorry. I tell this to my wife all the time. I said, I'll get you some things. I'm not buying diamonds. I won't do it. I've got an issue with that. Oh, these are non-conflict diamonds. Whatever. Okay. It's all nonsense. Not to mention the fact that diamonds in of themselves, there's more than enough of them. They withhold the supply to keep the price up. It's a scam. It is. Don't believe me? Do a little homework. Anyway. Yeah. So, you gotta get all of these minerals. You got to get all of these things. How do you go about getting them? How much carbon is used to go ahead and get them? The Volkswagen study that I cited before here on the program, I'm going to mention it again. The first 60,000 miles or so you're driving an electric car, that electric vehicle will have emitted more carbon dioxide than if you just drove a conventional vehicle. This is due to all of the production costs, or production carbon costs, if you will. You would have to drive an electric car 100,000 miles to reduce emissions by just 20 or 30%. It's a lot of miles. It's a lot of miles, people. Again, this is where a compromise could be had. People care about the environment. I mean, it's an issue that's out there. Oh, okay, but we can't come up with an intelligent way of doing this. Oh, I know. We'll give more tax credits and handouts and giveaways and whatnot. You see the price of these freaking electric cars? Who could? I mean, at one point in time, I had a young family. I don't anymore. Kids going off to school. You take a look. $80,000, $90,000 for an SUV. Anyway, have a great day, everybody. Again, you want to sound off you disagree with something that I have to say. Again, get to our website, watchdogonwallstreet.com. You can email me, contact me. You can do it via social media. And I would go to our Facebook fan page. I'm on LinkedIn. You go there, send a message, whatever it may be. Again, if you enjoy the podcast, do me a solid. This entire podcast and my radio show have all been organically grown since 2000. and we like to continue to grow it. And it's because of you, the listeners out there. As you can tell, just I don't have corporate sponsors. I don't do anything like that. I'm here for you. So anyway, watchdogonwallstreet.com is our site. Take advantage of all the great stuff we have. God bless.